Hey everyone, Julie here from Biscotte Yarn's Northvale, New Jersey shop. Thank you for clicking into our second episode. If this is the first time you're here, welcome. In this space, just to give you a little bit of a preview of what to expect in these videos, we will be talking mostly about the things that we carry in our store, which obviously include our house brand yarns. We do also carry yarn made by other manufacturers, and from time to time we may also be talking about them because those yarn may work really well with one of our house patterns. Other things that we carry in our store that we may be talking about would include merch like yarn bowl or mugs like we did last episode, or any kids, any tools, etc. And for those of you who have watched our first episode and made a conscious decision to click into this video, what are you thinking? I'm kidding. Truly, I am very flattered and very thankful that you are coming back for more. Thank you. I'm so happy that you are here again. And I hope you will enjoy the content I am making available to you today. First order of business, let's talk about a field trip I took this past weekend with my husband. We went to the Maryland Sheep and Wool Festival. It was my first time attending. It's about like 3.5 hours from where we are in northern New Jersey. So it was definitely a field trip. But it was well worth it. It was a lot of fun. The weather was perfect, especially leading up to it. We just had miserable rainy weather. So it was a beautiful day, and the people there, everyone I've encountered there was so nice, super nice. I was very proud of myself that I almost didn't buy any yarn. And I say almost because on my way out, I went into this booth. I didn't catch the name of the maker, but what caught my attention was this huge cone of merino wool yarn. It was blank, undyed, very pure, and it was big, 3 pounds worth on a cone. So I naturally gravitated toward to that, and I got myself a cone. I don't know what I'm gonna make with it. Maybe I'll do a throw. For sure, I can do a sweater. I don't know. I don't have an inspiration for it yet. I figure I can't go wrong, grabbing that on the way out. So that was the only yarn that I bought. I did buy a lot of rovings. I bought it from several different farms. Total 38 ounces of it. And I am an aspiring spinner, and right now I'm experimenting with different types of spindles. I'm currently, let me show you, I'm currently working on a drop spindle because I was told that every beginner should start with a drop spindle, and I do drop this drop spindle quite often. It's really sad. But it's still in one piece. But I did also buy some other versions of spindles, like the supported and like the lace spindle thing, the thing with a bead at the bottom, etc. I guess my vocabulary is not that good right now because this is still really new to me. So I was working on this. I'm like spinning something, and let me see if I can show you. It's pretty consistent, do you think? For those professional spinners, those are more seasoned, what do you think? Give me a grade. So this is like my third time, I think. I want to say this is my third attempt in using the drop spindle. And it's unfortunate because I am not consistent. I would do a little bit of it and then I would put it down because I'm distracted by other knitting projects and what have you. But I'm making it a goal to focus on spinning this summer. So I bought a lot of rovings to work with. One of the things we do carry in our store is roving. This is Comb Top by Malabrigo, which I'm sure a lot of you are familiar with their knitting yarn or crochet yarn in general. But they also have this Comb Top. And this one is made with 100% merino wool, and I think this is the same colorway, which is Plomo. Okay, and when I was doing some homework on this product for spinning purposes, not for making this episode, a lot of people were saying how they weren't very happy with this roving because, do you call it roving or just call it comb top? Whatever. Because it wasn't, the dye doesn't penetrate completely on, you know, from their experience, but I've torn like a section of it, and I'll like quickly zip through my piece here. It's pretty consistent. It's consistently saturated is what I'm trying to say. So maybe I lucked out, but I honestly don't see any like white spots, undyed spots. Like here's a little pale, but I see it more like a silvery. It kind of goes with this color scheme. I think it's very pretty. So I'm really happy with it. I've been told that as a beginner, I should not be using merino wool because it's too slippery. But so far I'm doing okay. I would like to think that I'm doing okay. So if you would like to try spinning, you can stop by our store and pick up, I don't know what you call it. Do you call it a skein? A thing of this. Or you can also order it online at biscotteyarns.com. The sweater I'm wearing right now is called the Everyday Pullover, designed by Andrea Yetman. It was knitted with a fingering way yarn, Sirius. This is one of our house brand yarn. And the composition of this yarn is made with 85% superwash merino and 15% Donegal and nylon. And this colorway is Charbon, which is this yarn right here. What I like about this pattern is not just the simplicity of it. It's like so classic and so timeless, and it's so comfortable. Yeah, that was the thing. When I put this on before filming, I'm like, ooh, like this yarn is like really, really soft and light. So it's definitely a good weather transition piece. Maybe I wouldn't, you know what? I would actually use this yarn to make a summer top with it as well. I wouldn't make it, you know, fitting like this. This is a little bit, you know, fitting. But if I give it like maybe 5 inches or more positive ease, this would be really nice, even for warm weather. But I digress. I'm sorry about that. Serious yarn, seriously awesome. Okay, enough cheese. So this pattern, what I like about the way she wrote the pattern is that not only about the timelessness of this piece, but also she gave instruction for not 1, not 2, not 3, but 4 different yarn way. I don't even know how she figured it out, but she did. And I had a look at the pattern. It's very clearly laid out. So she has charts and grids, like she would tell you how many stitches to cast on depending on what way yarn you're using, and also what size sweater you're making. I don't know if that sounds complicated, but I promise you, like when you have the paper in front of you, when you have the pattern in front of you, it's going to be really clear. So I thought she was like really smart to have done that. It's really awesome. And the reason why she did that was because she just loved, like me, loved the classicness of it. Like this is going to be your go-to sweater. And you can knit the same sweater, you know, multiple times using different yarn, and it will look like a totally different piece of sweater. So let's talk about how this was constructed. The sweater is constructed from the top down, starting with the back piece. You pick up stitches, or you knit down like the left side, and then you knit down the right side, and then you connect it when the length is good, and then you pick up stitches, and then you do the same thing for the front, the two pieces here, and then once everything is matched up, then you connect it, and then you knit in the tube until you get to the hem. And talk about giving you options, this girl. So Andrea also gave you several options to knitting the edges, like for the hems, you know, for the sleeve cuffs as well as the hem. Like, do you want it 1 by 1, 2 by 2 ribbing, or twisted ribbing? You know, she gave you a variation. So I guess that kind of goes along with her theme of making this one pattern with multiple possibilities, right? So let me show you a little bit closer. So here is the neckline. I really like the width of this crew neck. And then here is the shoulder seam. She likes this texture here. Oh, and then it's a drop sleeve. And then for the sleeve part, you just pick up stitches and then you knit down. And in my version, there is a pocket with a little Biscotte yarns button. And that just like, it makes it more fun, right? And then here is the hem, and this is where it falls. I don't know what size this is, but it fits me really well, and I might just wear it home. Yeah. Okay, next up, we have something cute. It's a striped onesie. Here we are, designed by Nikki V. And this piece was knitted also from the top down. And then there are some intricate designs in here. It looks like really classic and simple, you know, like a really nice stripe here, right? But if you look closely on the raglan sleeve here, Nikki V had added some cabling business here, which I really think is very nice. It's nice and classic. That's what I like. And the sleeve is not done, you know, any special technique or whatever, because it's raglan. So it's just kind of like built in, if you will, when you're constructing it. So as you are knitting this down, let's see if I can hold it like this. Lift up her little skirt. Here is like the pants part, if you will, like the bum part with the buttons, because it's a onesie, right? So you would just use one color and continue knitting down flat to create the front and back of the bottom. And then for the skirt, you would pick up stitches along the garter edge, and then you would knit that in the round, and then finish off with garter stitch for the hem. Now, the sizes available for this cute little onesie, which is perfect for warm weather that is heading towards our way, it runs from newborn to 2T. So, and I think let me take a look. Yeah, it's a newborn for 3 months, 6 months, 12 months, 18 months, and then 2 years. And this model is sized for 6 months. Now, the yarn that she used to make this onesie is granola from the Louise Roberts line. Granola, let me hold it right. Here we go. Granola. It is made with 70% merino wool and 30% hemp. Hence, this is a really good choice of yarn to make for warm weather garment like that onesie I was holding up. Hemp for obvious reasons, and merino wool. Well, for those who are not familiar with the awesomeness of merino wool, when you hear the word wool, you're probably thinking like, you know, fleecy sheep, and it's supposed to be, you know, for cold weather. But with merino wool, because of the crimp that it has, crimp is like the zigzagginess, like crimp, like, you know, back in the 80s when we do our hair with like the little zigzag thing to make our hair like ruffles, chips. So like imagine that, you know, on the fleece, like it's like that on the sheep. So it's that zigzagginess that keeps the body warm because it insulates in the cold weather, but it also acts as a barrier for when the climate is warmer. Merino wool also wicks moisture away. To be a little bit more direct, like if you're sweating, then instead of like cotton where it would just like absorb into the thing and then like your armpit and everything is just like all wet and disgusting, merino wool would draw the moisture away from your body and evaporates into the air. So you don't have that on your body and keep making you all disgusting and hot. So it regulates your body temperature better. If that is not really making sense to you, then think about the weather in general speak. Like if you've ever been in New York City in the summer, it is disgustingly hot and humid, especially down in the subway. Or maybe it might be more relatable, like Florida. It's really hot and humid because it's humid. Like if it's 90 degrees in Florida, it feels very different than if you were in a desert, like in Arizona or something, because there's like virtually no moisture in Arizona. So like dry heat. So this is kind of like drawing a comparison, how the merino wool regulates your body temperature. So, with this pattern, the striped onesie, you can get a copy of that on our website at Biscotte Yarns. And as usual, if you were to buy it as a kit, if you want to pick up the yarn for this project, then the pattern, we gift it to you for free. And another good news about this project is that it only takes one skein from each color to make that onesie, even for the size 2T, for the biggest size. So all you're doing is buying 2 skeins of yarn and then the pattern comes free to you. And that's, to me, I think that's a great deal. And it would make a really, really good baby present. Or maybe you're just knitting it for your own little baby, which is nice too. All of Biscotte yarns are hand dyed. And we have a variety of colorways as well as the style, from solids to variegated, self-striping. Right now, I want to talk more about self-striping yarns that we have. We have a lot of that in our fingering way or sock yarn, but we also have it for other way yarn as well. But let's explore the sock yarns. I think most people would understand self-striping yarn as having a result like this, where you're gonna see, you know, pretty even striping of different colors. Unlike the example I showed you previous with the onesie, where the knitter has to manually manipulate the color change to create the stripe, with the self-striping, the yarn does all the heavy lifting for you. So this sock pattern is knitted with this yarn, our Biscotte, and this is in the colorway Rainbow. And the name of this sock pattern with a cable up front is called the Cheshire Cat. To me, it kind of looks like Joseph in the Technicolor sock, rainbow sock. But Louise Robert was the one who designed this pair of sock, and I have never seen sock designed this way before. I just love how creative people get sometimes. Instead of knitting the socks from the toe up or from the cuff down, like most other patterns out there, Louise decided to start from the heel. So you would start the construction of this sock like the same way that you do with toe-up socks. You would, cast on X number of stitches, and then you would do increases every other row or every other round until you get to a certain point. Then that's where you would divide to knit from this part on, the instep up or the heel up to the cuff, and then you would go back and then continue on down to the toe. German short row is used here and here to create the shaping. And then for the leg, as I pointed out before, Louise had also put in pretty simple and classic cable to add interest to it, as if this piece in and of itself is not interesting enough, right? So that's Cheshire Cat, knitted with our Biscotte in colorway rainbow, and you would need to use US 1.5 needles to knit up this project. This yarn, this project also gets sold as a kit, so if you wanted to pick up yarn, then the pattern will come free to you. You can check that out at biscotteyarns.com, and there should be an option to purchase it as a kit. And then here's another example I pulled. Another self-striping yarn sock. Here's more traditional view. Unlike the other one where the striping is more uniform, like this one, you have like a shorter stripe here and then like a bigger block, etc., etc. So that's interesting. But then here up front, this is how the striping appears. Again, this is another sock pattern that I don't see very often. It's extremely untraditional. The designer of this is, let me take a look, excuse me, Tracy Adams. And the name of this pattern is Eanrin. It's Gaelic, so forgive me if I'm mispronouncing it. It's the Eanrin Socks, and it's knitted flat. It's constructed flat. And if you want to learn more about this, or even, try a different way in making a sock, check this out on our website, biscotteyarns.com. Eanrin is the way that word, Gaelic word, is spelled. You could download a copy of this for free from our website. And the yarn that was used to make this was also from the Biscotte line, and the colorway is Daisy. Yep, Daisy. Very pretty, and this is the result. Now, we also have another variation of self-striping, and here is the example that I pulled. This sock pattern is called Funkytown, also designed by Miss Roberts. And here's like some cool design here on the side. It's a little funky. And then on the other side is, more plain. And again, here is another variation where the striping is not uniform. It's blocked like that, but look at how uniform that sequence is, right? And the yarn that she used for this design is from the Patrick Knits line. Here's that. And all of these yarns are made with 85% superwash merino and 15% of nylon for durability. All of the sock yarn, that is. So this one, again, the pattern name is called Funkytown, and again, you can buy this as a kit. So you buy the yarn and then you get the pattern for free. Yay. Now, I have been focusing on self-striping yarn for sock yarn, but we also make self-striping yarn for other way as well. Here is one in DK. Here's a model of a sock. This is, pretty basic vanilla sock, right? But you can see that the texture, like the stitch definition, is a little bit bigger because the yarn is thicker, because it's DK way. Ta-da! So this is from DK Pure. And this is in colorway, you know what? It doesn't say on here, or I can't see it. I'm sorry about that. But I'll put up information in the program notes below. But just to let you know that this is how it stripes up. Isn't this like really helpful? Because to me, like seeing a skein of yarn like this, multicolor, yes, I know it's self-striping, but I don't know how it stripes up, you know. But what our company does is we have this huge wall. I'll take a picture of it later and I'll post it somewhere. We have a wall of a big poster with an example, like a swatch example on how the self-striping yarn knits up, so you know what to expect when you knit it. I was really upset one time when I was buying self-striping yarn from another maker. The color combo in the ball was really pretty. It was like the colorway that I really liked, but I absolutely detested the way it came out, like the way it striped, like the color, like it was like really drabby. It was really, really disappointing. So that's one thing I like about what Biscotte Yarns does, is that they give you like this huge chart, this huge poster, so you see, oh, okay, so this yarn, you know, it's going to stripe up like that, and if it pleases you, then you can, you know, knit up your project with it. I do have to say though, with the self-striping yarn, and this is important to know, it was the way that the yarn was calculated to make the self-stripiness is only for about that size, like that diameter, like for this, or this even, right? So it's self-striping, yes, and this is like, you know, 7 inches diameter or whatever it is. But if you were to knit a cowl, you know, obviously the diameter of the cowl is going to be way bigger than the diameter of this. It's not going to stripe like that. So you got to keep that in mind. I know I've seen other people use like self-striping yarn to make like color work sweaters. So it's like, you know, 2 color, but instead of using 2 solids, you know, for like the contrasting color, they would use like a self-striping yarn, and it doesn't come out striped like I said before, but it's really interesting to see like the multicolorness come through the contrasting part of the design. But we do have a pattern available. Unfortunately, I don't have a model of it and a sample to show you. I would have loved to model it for you, but I can tell you a little bit about it, and I can show you what that yarn is. Give me a second to reach for it. It is made with our DK Pure, the one that I just showed you, to make this sock. It's called the Cascading Angels Shawl, and it was designed by Caitlin Blazing. She used 3 different colorways to create that shawl, and then here's a picture of it. 2 solids and 1 self-striping. In the picture that is shown, it's different colorways. Unfortunately, we don't have the self-striping one anymore, but the nuit and the lavender, like the night and the lavender, that's what it translates to. You can see like on the edges of this the picture here, and then for like what looks like black and white, that is the self-striping. So I just pulled an example of it from our wall. Like I said in the previous episode, I'm really bad with, you know, choosing color combo, but I think this works, right? So here could be the contrasting color, like the solids, to replace the night, which is a dark blue, and the light purplish, which is the lavender. And then here is the self-striping. The designer, Caitlin, she had worked it out so that even though this is not obviously a small diameter like it is for your sock, but it will stripe up like the way you see it in the picture when you construct her shawl with a self-striping yarn. So I think that's gonna be fun and really neat to see how it pans out. This is it, friends. Thank you so much for staying with me to this point and for watching. I'm glad that you have found us. If you have any comments or feedback for me, please leave it down below. I will read every single one of them, promise. And please also hit the subscribe button up above if you would like to be notified the next time we have fresh content for you. Until next time, happy crafting.